Peace, y'all. So I'm back. This is part two to Words of Power. I know I left y'all with a little cliffhanger, but I got a lot of videos on my phone that I'm gonna be posting, so it's getting full. So needless to say, that shit got cut off. But yeah, I think I left off with the Sam and Dean thing about supernatural. So where I was going with that was they use sigils in that. And if anybody has watched Supernatural, you'll realize that the sigils can hold demons in place or keep demons out of certain areas or out of the vicinity or wherever the guys that are trying to slay the demons and slay the monsters are. So what I was trying to connect for you guys with or share with you is that they'll teach you that demons are, these evil creatures and, the way they make them look in movies and shit. And I don't want to say that that's far from the truth, because a demon is going to appear to you the way it needs to appear to you, to do or to fulfill whatever it's trying to fulfill. Whatever its mission is might be the determining factor on how it resonates within the frequency of yourself, if you follow me. It's really, really hard for me to explain, but like, you might be at a certain vibratory level, so it appears to you in the way that it appears to you based on your vibratory level. That's basically what I'm saying. Now, my perspective on demons is they're nothing more than lawless spirits. There are two sides, they say. There's the light and the dark, which they like to classify the two different sides. I believe they're one and the same. But the one thing that I recognize is that a demon isn't out to do the most evil things on the planet. Like, that's man's perception of what a demon is trying to do, because men do evil things. That doesn't mean something that operates at a high frequency, because the thing about it is people are going to say that a demon vibrates at a low vibration. But in reality, for it to exist in the frequency in which it exists, it has more power than people that don't vibrate at that frequency. So it actually vibrates higher. But my perspective on a demon is that it's nothing more than a lawless vibrational, or I should say a lawless high vibrating entity. There are high vibrational entities that vibrate. I should say there's entities that vibrate with law, and there's entities that vibrate without law. And that's what I deem a demon to be, right? So with that being said, to go back to Words of Power and to talk about the sigils and the symbols and stuff, this is why there's so many signs, symbols, and insignias and emblems, and what else they got? Family crests, sigils. All this is around us to bind our spirits in place. And again, because everyone's going to take what I'm saying and try to critique it or whatever, this is my truth. It doesn't mean it's your truth. You can do the knowledge. I happen to be one of those guys that cross-correlate everything. You know what I mean? Sometimes I over-examine things, but for the betterment of my spirit is why I have to stay as sharp as I am, or stay as sharp as I feel I am. With that being said, I feel that's what's happening. When you feel like a lot of people are, the 5%ers like to call them the 85%ers, the dumb, deaf, and blind, right? If I'm to go with that classification of the 85% of the world, the reason why they're dumb, deaf, and blind is due to the fact that their spirit isn't free. It has no recognition, recollection, or cognizance of its existence or its ability to operate outside the construct, the matrix, so to speak. And the reason why the spirit is asleep is because half the time it's driven by ego, and the other half the time I would say a higher percentage, it's not operable due to the fact of all the things that I just mentioned, the symbols, the sigils, the emblems, the crests, all these different things that are around us. Even the over promotion of certain companies that use certain symbols to represent their company. People don't even know what half this stuff is around us. So all these things are working against our spirits, especially the ones that are not aware that these things hold so much power over us. So this is why it's important to use the right words. This is why it's important to break words down. This is important. This is why it's important to not let certain words become you. Like when you have a friend or a boy or a homegirl or whatever, and she keeps saying she's ghetto. Well, every time she says she's ghetto, she's actually bringing that into manifestation. She's manifesting that reality. She becomes ghetto, not even knowing where the word comes from, like, and how the Jews were the first ones in the ghetto, and how that's where they were throwing them, and where they were throwing them, they were called the ghettos. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you have to look it up, but because I came across this thousands of years ago, ghetto derives from the word guitar, which is Ghettar. Look that up. But yeah, the word ghetto derives from that, and that was a Jewish thing. They were throwing them in that part of their province or wherever they were and calling that a ghetto, and that was the first ghetto. Like we don't even come from the ghetto. Like we come from fucking pyramids, and not necessarily saying we lived in pyramids, because that's just a theory, but just saying we're builders, we're master builders. Like we, even buildings and all that shit, like that's the others started that whole concept of building homes on top of homes on top of homes. Like we didn't live like that on top of each other. We lived next to each other. Like, you know what I mean? So even small things like that, like cave dwelling concepts, you know what I mean? So we got to be very, very careful with the words we use, like very careful. Like I was telling y'all with the government, or governing your mental and element, your elemental, like, you know what I mean? Like those are the God's mentality, is the element, the elemental. That's the God's mentality. The government is a governed mentality. You know what I mean? You could look up other words with "ment" in it. Settlement, like, you know what I mean? It's a settled mentality. Like when you reach a settlement, it's because you've settled mentally. So it's all there. Environment. I'm not sure what the prefix to that is and what it means in terms of its origin and what it represents as far as envire. You know what I mean? I don't know what that is, but we know environment is what's around you. So I would assume that it's everything that encompasses your mental. You know what I mean? So yeah, we just got to be careful about that and be conscious and be mindful of the words we use, man. We really do. We really do. And a guy tried to critique me or whatever as if I was unlearned on how to spell language when I was breaking down language. Like, no one says language, gwidge. You know what I mean? Like, who does that? Like, it's language. You say the word. Yes, I understand it's the Guage. You know what I mean? But that's not how it's pronounced when you put it all together. And people have to realize the power that goes into the English language or language in general. Because the people everything that we use was tonal. Was no language. Everything was sound and tone. You know what I mean? That's why people who are unlearned try to make fun of Africans and stuff like that, because they don't understand how their words are all used with tones. The original people use tones. Babies, when they're born and come from the immaterial into the material, we're coming from the cosmos and coming to here, they start off with tone. We force our world upon them. We put this magic on them so they can become susceptible to the things in this dimension. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to go too far into that in this particular vlog, because that might be too much to hold on to. I'm gonna spoon feed you people, or spoon food the people. I don't want to say you people, like you guys are separate from somebody else, but the people. I'm gonna spoon feed us. So yeah, that's where I got for you guys today. That's where I'm at with it. You guys got to start liking and sharing and subscribing. I got a lot more stuff that is gonna blow your mind away. You know what I mean? But remember, while you're here, remember, most of us are just spiritual beings having a human experience. I can't speak for everyone, but most of us, I repeat, are spiritual beings having a human experience. So your duty and your job as a spiritual being while you're here is to impact everyone you come across. Each one teach one to reach one. They always leave out that last part. Each one teach one. Each one teach one to do what? Each one teach one to reach one. That is our job. My light is brilliant. Love, light, and peace. And remember, no fear is the bridge to absolute freedom. It's the God Almighty. Peace.